The sky of Aloria was beautiful once. It used to glow with soft pink clouds and two golden suns. Children laughed in the floating cities. Birds flew between towers made of crystal and silver. Life was peaceful, calm, safe, but peace had died. Now, smoke covered the sky. Fire swallowed the horizon. The sounds of sirens and screams filled the air. Massive walking machines, each the size of a fortress, moved across the land. Their legs crushed homes. Their weapons burned forests and buildings, alike. The enemy had arrived with no warning. They didn't talk. They didn't give demands. They simply attacked. The Alorians were not a warrior race. Their people believed in trade, science, and peace. They had small security forces, nothing more. Their weapons were old. Their ships were fast, but not made for war. They were never ready for something like this. Now, they were dying. Inside the central tower of the capital city, a group of leaders stood in a war room. The air smelled like sweat, blood, and fear. "The North Continent is gone," said Commander Valar, his voice shaking. 10 million dead in less than 1 day. Chancellor Miro, the highest leader of Aloria, stared at the blinking screen in front of him. "Are we receiving any response from the Council of Stars?" "No," replied the comms officer. "They ignored all 5 distress signals. They say they won't risk their fleets." "They're letting us burn," whispered Chancellor Miro. "Yes, Chancellor." Outside, the tower shook from a nearby blast. Everyone froze. Commander Valar stepped forward. "We need to evacuate the capital." Miro turned slowly. "Where will we go, Commander? The skies are full of enemy ships, our owner destroyed, the surface is lost." Valar looked at the floor. He had no answer. A low voice came from the corner of the room. "There's one last chance." All heads turned. It was Sela, a young communication engineer. Her uniform was dirty, her face pale, but her eyes burned with a strange fire. "Speak," said Miro. Sela walked to the console. "There's an ancient channel in our systems. Buried, deep. It's not part of the Council's network. It was locked long ago. Forbidden." "Why?" Valar asked. "Because it connects to Earth." Everyone in the room went silent. "Earth?" someone whispered. "That Deathworld?" Sela nodded. "Yes, a Deathworld. Class 10. Every record says no one should ever go there. The gravity is extreme. The creatures are deadly. Even the weather tries to kill you. But they say it's where humans live." Miro stepped closer. "Humans? I thought they were just myths." "They're real," Sela said. "Long ago, Aloria was warned never to deal with them. The old empires called them monsters. They said Earth was cursed, that no help would ever come from that place. Only destruction." Valar frowned. "And you want to call them for help?" "I want to survive," Sela said, voice rising. "Our people are dying. If there's even a small chance they'll answer." Miro stared at the screen showing cities on fire. He gave a slow nod. "Do it." Sela moved quickly. She activated the hidden channel. Static filled the room. "Unknown source," the system warned. "Connection unstable. Warning, communicating with Earth may breach galactic safety laws." She ignored it. Sela pressed the final button. "Earth, this is Aloria. We are under attack. We are peaceful. We are dying. Please, if you hear this, help us." There was silence, then more static, then nothing. Hours passed. The skies grew darker. Explosions drew closer to the capital. Civilians were hiding underground. Some cried. Some held their children close. Others simply waited for the end. Commander Valar stood at the balcony, staring at the red clouds. "We tried everything," he said quietly to himself. "No one's coming." Just then, a strange sound filled the sky. It wasn't the enemy. It wasn't thunder. It was something new. A deep rumble, like the growl of a star. Valar looked up. Something moved in the clouds. At first he thought it was debris, but then it grew larger and larger. A dark shape cut through the smoke. It was massive, sharp, fast. Then another followed it, and another. Dozens, known hundreds. The ships didn't match any known design. They were black, shaped like daggers with glowing red lights that pulsed like heartbeats. They flew in perfect formation, silent and deadly. One of the tower guards screamed, "They're not the enemy. Their signal, it's not from the invaders. It's from Earth." The Capitol's tower shook again, but this time from sonic booms. Sella ran to the console. "We're receiving a message." Everyone held their breath. The voice came through. Cold, clear, calm. "Aloria, your signal was received. Terra strike. Command has authorized intervention. Prepare for ground deployment. Do not interfere." Valar stepped back. "They're real." Miro looked up in awe. "The Deathworlders are coming." Outside, the sky ripped open. From the bellies of the Earth ships, thousands of black capsules dropped like meteors. They fell fast, fire trailing behind them. Each one slammed into the ground with thunderous force. The enemy began to react, firing upward, but it was too late. The capsules cracked open. Soldiers stepped out. Each one wore armor that seemed alive, smooth black plates with glowing veins. Their faces were hidden. Behind full helmets, they moved in perfect silence, weapons in hand, no shouts, no fear. Only action. The first Terran soldier raised his weapon and fired. A blinding blue bolt cut through an enemy war machine, slicing it in half. The second soldier deployed a drone. It flew up, scanned the battlefield, and began to shoot with deadly accuracy. A full enemy tank line turned to fire at the newcomers. The Terrans didn't flinch. They moved like ghosts, vanishing, reappearing behind their enemies, destroying them in seconds. Within minutes, the battlefield had changed. Where Aeloria's defenders had fallen, the Deathworlders stood tall. Valar watched from the tower, eyes wide. "They fight like machines." "No," Sela whispered. "They fight like something worse." The Terrans didn't just kill, they hunted. They cleared street by street, building by building. They used weapons Aelorians had never seen. Sound blades that cut through metal, gravity pulses that slammed tanks into the sky, silent rifles that fired invisible death. And they never stopped moving. Even when the enemy retreated, the Terrans chased them. Even when begged for mercy, the Terrans gave none. Later that night, Valar stood with Chancellor Miro at the top of the tower. The fires were fading. The gunshots had stopped. The enemy was gone. A single Terran ship hovered outside. One of the Deathworld soldiers floated up to the tower's balcony using a jetpack. He stepped onto the platform, his black armor shining under the stars. The helmet hissed open. Inside was a human face, pale, scarred, calm. "I am Commander Reyes of Terra Strike Unit 47. Miro nodded, stunned. "You saved us." Reyes' eyes didn't blink. "You called, we answered, we always answer." "But why help us?" Valar asked. "You owe us nothing." Reyes stared at them. "Because we remember what it's like to be ignored." He turned away. "Your world is now under Terran protection. Do not call again, unless you're truly ready for war." Then he stepped back, jetpack igniting. The Deathworlders vanished into the night sky. The night after Earth soldiers landed, Aloria did not sleep. Smoke still drifted through the broken cities. Fires glowed on the edges of the forests. But the screams had stopped. So had the enemy's guns. Now there was only silence. And the Terrans. They were everywhere. Silent shadows in black armor walked the streets. They didn't speak. They didn't rest. They scanned everything. Buildings, machines, bodies. Every few hours, more of their ships arrived in the sky, dropping supplies, drones, and even walking machines of their own. Terran walkers made the enemy machines look like toys, giant beasts made of steel, with glowing red eyes and massive weapons. Chancellor Miro watched from the top of the tower, still trying to understand what he was seeing. "How many of them are there?" he asked. "Thousands," Commander Valar replied. "Maybe more. And we still don't know why they helped us." Valar shook his head. "No, but it wasn't for kindness. That much is clear." At the base of the tower, Sela stood beside a Terran officer. His name was Reyes, the same one who had spoken to them the night before. He now wore a helmet again, his face hidden. He never removed it when talking to Elorians anymore. Sela pointed to a ruined area on the map. This was a refugee center. Hundreds were hiding here, now it's just smoke. Reyes didn't react. "Clear the airspace. We are deploying a purge team." Sela hesitated. What?" Reyes turned slightly. "Purge team. They clean infected zones, burn traps, recover data. If survivors remain, they will be found." "They?" Sela whispered. The Terran ship above the zone opened its doors. Something dropped. Not soldiers this time. No. These things moved on 4 legs, fast like animals. Metal wolves with glowing, red eyes. They howled once and then charged into the ruins. "What are those?" Sela asked, stepping back. "Dogs of war," Reyes said. "They smell blood, fear, movement. They won't stop until every enemy is dead." "But what if there are survivors?" she said, panicking. "They will not be harmed," Reyes replied coldly, "unless they resist." Hours passed. All over. Eloria, more Terran teams landed. They didn't wait for orders. They didn't ask permission. They took over all military centers, blocked off roads, and shut down spaceports. Elorian commanders were pushed aside. Scientists were told to hand over data. Medical centers were sealed. Even Chancellor Miro was not allowed into parts of his own city. "This is an occupation," Valar said angrily. "They're not allies. They're conquerors." "They saved us," Miro replied quietly. "And now, they're staying." In the lower districts of the capital, small groups of Elorian fighters gathered. They were angry, afraid. They didn't trust the Terrans. To them, these Deathworld soldiers were just a new kind of invader. A man named Yorick led one group. He was a former pilot, strong and proud. He had lost his family during the first wave of attacks. Now he wanted to fight back. "Look at them," he said, pointing at a Terran patrol. "They walk our streets like they own them. What if they turn on us next?" "But they killed the invaders," someone said. "We'd all be dead without them." Jorek's voice rose. "They didn't do it for us. They did it because they enjoy war. You saw how they fight. Like monsters. Like machines." Some nodded. Others looked away. "I say we test them," Jorek said. "We see what they really want." Later that night, Jorek and 2 others crept through a ruined alley. They wore stolen uniforms and carried EMP grenades. Elorian tech meant to shut down machines. Their target, a Terran walker, standing alone near a destroyed power station. They moved quietly. Jorek pressed a button. The grenade clicked once. Then, he threw it. It rolled under the walker's legs. There was a bright flash. The walker went still. "Yes," Jorek whispered. "It worked." They turned to run, but it was already too late. The walker came back to life. Its red eyes turned toward them. "No!" Jorek gasped. The machine moved fast, far faster than anything its size should move. Its arms grabbed one of the attackers, lifting him into the air. A red beam scanned his face. "Unauthorized attack detected. Level 4 threat. Applying countermeasures." The beam burned through his chest in an instant. Jorek ran. The second attacker was already on fire, screaming. Jorek didn't look back. He made it into the shadows. He thought he had escaped. But when he reached a quiet rooftop, someone was already waiting. A Terran soldier. Alone. Not moving. Jorek raised his weapon. The Terran was faster. Much faster. In one motion, the soldier kicked the weapon away, slammed Jorek to the floor, and placed a boot on his chest. "You should not have tested us," the soldier said calmly. Jorek gasped. You're not here to help, you're here to control. The Terran leaned closer. We are here, he said, because no one else was. And now you are under our protection. That means safety. But it also means rules. Do not break them again. Then the soldier vanished into the shadows. Jorek lay there coughing. He realized something terrifying. The Terrans were not cruel, but they were not kind either. Back at the command tower, Miro met with Reyes. You've taken our defense systems offline, Miro said. You've replaced our security with your own. Why? Reyes didn't answer right away. He studied the screen in front of him, showing the enemy's last known fleet location. You think the war is over, he finally said. It's not, Miro frowned. The invaders are gone. Those were scouts, Reyes replied. Testers. The real force is coming. We know their kind. They've done this to hundreds of planets, and they always return. Then why not? Tell us sooner? Reyes turned. Because fear keeps you alert. Miro felt cold. What are they? He asked. Reyes pressed a button. A hologram filled the room, a massive enemy fleet, far bigger than anything Aloria had ever seen. Ships, the size of cities, biomachines, living weapons. They are called the Vrakar, Reyes said. They live to consume planets, stars, civilizations. And you've fought them before? Reyes's voice was cold. We don't fight, we erase. Far away on the dark side of Aloria's moon, something stirred. A single Vrakar vessel, wounded but not destroyed, had hidden there after the first battle. Inside, a creature opened its many eyes. It hissed. The humans had come. The Vrakar had not expected that. But they would now return with everything. The real war had just begun. The stars looked calm, but Reyes knew better. Deep space was never silent, not when the Vrakar World Eater was coming. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't even alive in the way most things were. It was a weapon, older than any empire. Something. The Vrakar called in whispers. Gorthun. And it had awakened. 3 days after the second invasion wave fell, Terran scans picked up something massive moving in the dark, beyond the outer edge of the Alorian star system. It was slow. Like a crawling mountain, but it warped gravity as it came. Commander Valar stared at the display. That can't be a ship. It's the size of a moon. Reyes answered coldly. That's no moon. That's a planet killer. One of the ancient weapons buried by the first civilizations. The Vrakar just woke it up. Valar's voice cracked. Can you stop it? Reyes looked down at the Earth symbol on his armor. We don't stop things like that. We burn them. High in orbit, Titan Zero drifted like a broken ghost. Its engines were damaged. Half its outer armor was melted. But its mind, its AI core, was still awake. Reyes stood in the control chamber facing the ancient AI face to face. A glowing red projection of a human face stared back. You're asking me to release the Forgeborn protocol, the AI said. Yes, Reyes answered. That would mean using the sun itself as a weapon. Yes. And Earth Command has not approved. I'm not waiting for Earth. Aloria falls, and the Vrakar win. There was a pause. Then the AI said, confirmed. Activating. Forgeborn protocol. Down below on Aloria's surface, people looked up and saw something strange in the sky. The sun flickered. Just once, but it was enough to frighten everyone. In the capital, Chancellor Miro ran into the Terran Field Command Post. What did you do? What is happening to our sun? Valar met his eyes. We're not using missiles this time, we're going to use your star. At a hidden base deep in the mountains, the Deathworld soldiers prepared. This time they weren't dropping in with rifles. They were walking into battle wearing sun armor, heavy suits powered by solar plasma, built for war in extreme heat. Only used in end-of-world scenarios. Jax grinned as his armor locked into place. We don't just fight wars, he said. We end them. Sela, now working beside the Terrans, asked, but what if it's too big? What if it can't be stopped? Jax, turned his helmet toward her. Then we drag it into the sun. In deep space, Gorthun arrived. The World Eater was a black sphere, bigger than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Its surface was covered in glowing lines, veins of energy. Each pulse sent out signals like sonar made of horror, and from its center, a deep voice whispered into the minds of every living thing. Feed, burn, end. Planets far beyond Aloria heard it too. Some species went mad. Others prayed. But Earth prepared. On the dark side of Aloria's moon, Terran engineers worked fast. They were building something huge, a solar chain, a string of gravity, weapons connected in orbit, built to catch and redirect energy. We're going to use the sun like a whip, one engineer said. Or a sword, another answered. The World Eater began charging its main weapon. A hole opened in its side, a black crater filled with swirling green energy. It was drawing power from nearby stars, feeding off the system itself. The countdown began, minutes until planetary strike. Titan Zero sent out a message to all Terran soldiers. Last stand protocol, all units deploy, no retreat, no mercy. The Deathworld soldiers launched. This time they were aiming for Gorthun itself. They fell through space like burning comets, punching through enemy defenses with shields of plasma. Not one slowed down, not one screamed. They were beyond fear now. Jax's squad was first to hit the surface. The moment they landed, the ground exploded under them. Vrakar defenders swarmed out of cracks, horrible insect-like creatures with glowing bones. Jax raised both arms and fired twin sunblasters. One shot tore through 50 enemies, the other melted a hill. Back on Aloria, Miro asked, "Are they fighting on that thing?" Valor nodded. "Yes, to keep it busy. We need 10 more minutes." "For what?" Valor showed him the plan, a solar slingshot. A chain of Terran satellites ready to bend the sun's energy and focus it into a single point. A weapon. "We're going to burn a hole through the World Eater's core," Valor said. "If it works." Jax's squad was being overrun. Even sun armor couldn't stop everything. 2 of his men were down. A third was caught and torn apart by screaming Vrakar beasts. Jax roared, grabbing a heavy spear from his back. The Ignis Lance, a one-use sun core weapon. He jumped into a massive pit at the center of the enemy base below him. The heart of Gorthun pulsed. Alive. Watching. He landed on it and slammed the Ignis Lance down with all his strength. The world cracked, the core screamed, and the countdown hit 0. Above, in orbit, the Terran satellites aligned. The solar slingshot, activated. A thread of pure white energy curved around the sun, growing hotter and hotter. "Target locked," the Titan AI said. "Fire," and the sky lit up. A burning beam, hotter than anything the galaxy had seen, pierced space. It struck Gorthun straight through the wound Jax made. The World Eater trembled. It tried to scream, but space has no sound. Instead, it shattered. Pieces of burning black rock fell into space. Vrakar ships nearby caught fire. The mind voice stopped. All was silent again. Sela ran outside the capital walls, staring up at the night sky. A second star had appeared. No, not a star, just the burning remains of something ancient, she whispered. They really saved us. Valor stepped beside her. No, they bought us time. On the battlefield, Jax crawled out of the crater. His armor was broken, his lungs burned, but he was alive. Above him, Reyes landed silently. "You disobeyed orders," Reyes said. Jax coughed. "We're Deathworlders. Orders come second. Survival comes third." Reyes nodded. "Next time, ask first." Then he held out a hand and pulled Jax up. But in a distant part of the galaxy, far from Aloria, something else stirred. An ancient Vrakar spire lit up, untouched for 1,000,000 years, and from its cold halls came a signal. They used the Forge-born. Earth has crossed the line. Begin final protocol, Hive Ascension. The war wasn't over, it was just beginning. The fire had faded. The World Eater was gone, but Reyes didn't relax. He never did. On Aloria, the skies were finally clear. For now. The people cheered, the children sang. Even the old warriors believed it was over, but Reyes saw something else. Something deep in the Vrakar wreckage. A piece of black stone still glowed. Faint, pulsing, not dead. Not yet. That night, Earth Command sent a private message. It was short, cold, and terrifying. Hive Ascension protocols detected. Deathworld clearance. Granted, you must go to Erebus 9. No one else must ever know. Erebus 9 was a frozen planet, an old Terran research site long abandoned. It wasn't on any map now. Covered in eternal blizzards, surrounded by dead moons, and hidden behind gravity shadows. Sela stood with Jax in the war room as the map appeared. "Secret Terran base?" she asked. "No," Reyes said. "A vault." Sela's eyes narrowed. "What's inside?" Reyes didn't blink. What we buried. What we were too scared to destroy. What even Earth was afraid of. The Terran dropship sliced through ice storms as it landed on Erebus 9. The surface was white, lifeless, and screaming with cold. Temperatures dropped below anything natural. Not even the Vrakar would follow them here. Jax's squad stepped out, armored in special cryosuits. Their breath froze on their visors. "This place smells like a grave," muttered one soldier. "It is," Reyes said. "A grave for our sins." They reached the old vault doors, sealed in thick black alloy, with warning symbols from a dozen dead languages. Earth once called it Project Hivebreaker. "What is this place?" Sela asked. Reyes stared at the door. "A prison, for something we created, then feared." They opened it, and walked into the dark. Inside, the temperature didn't rise. Instead, it felt colder, like the heat was being eaten. The walls were lined with machines, dead and silent. Cryopods sat stacked to the ceiling. Most were shattered, but not all. One pod was still active. Inside floated a humanoid figure. It looked human, but its skin had tiny metallic lines. Its eyes flickered open before anyone touched it, and it spoke. "I remember fire," it whispered. Reyes stepped forward. "Designation?" The thing inside the pod answered in a calm voice. "I am Unit 0. I am the first Deathworlder I'm born to fight the Hive," Sela gasped. "Wait, you built this? A human weapon?" "No," Reyes said. "We didn't build him. We found him." Flashback. Hundreds of years ago, before Earth joined the galactic community, a strange object crashed into the Arctic Circle. Inside was Unit 0. He claimed to be from Earth, but not from their time. He spoke of the Hive Ascension, a future where intelligent insect-like creatures consumed every world, turning stars into nests and building living machines powered by fear. He said Earth would face them again. But not yet. So Earth froze him, built the vault, and waited. Back in the present, Unit 0 stood. He wore no armor, but when he walked, the ice cracked. "I've seen the Hive before," he said. "And they are awake now." Jax asked, "Why are they called that?" "Because they don't kill you right away," Unit 0 said. "They use you, control you. They eat your body. But keep your mind." Sela shivered. As they explored deeper, they found more horrors. One room held Hive samples, creatures frozen in special chambers. Some had human eyes. One even had Earth military tags. Jax whispered, "They got to us before." Reyes nodded. "They did. A long time ago." Suddenly a siren blared. Warning lights flashed red. The AI voice of Erebus 9 said, "Containment breach. Life forms detected, not human." Everyone spun around. The Hive samples were waking up. From the pods came screeching sounds. Thin claws tapped on glass. Bodies twisted unnaturally. Eyes glowed with green fire. One creature burst free, leaping across the room in a blur. Jax fired. The plasma hit, but the thing kept moving. It slammed into one soldier, injecting him with something before Reyes burned it with a heat lance. The soldier began shaking violently, then went still. His eyes opened, glowing green. Unit 0 didn't hesitate. He shot him in the head. "They don't die easy," 0 said. "And if they touch you, it's too late." More pods shattered. Dozens of hive beasts now crawled along the ceiling. "We're leaving," Reyes said, but the elevator was already destroyed, trapped. They fell back to the reactor core, using heavy doors to block tunnels behind them. Sela helped seal the last one. Her hand shook. "They're learning," she said. "Getting faster." "They always do," Unit 0 said. "That's what makes them worse than any empire. They adapt. Every time." Inside the core room, Reyes activated a command screen. "We're going to overload the vault," he said. "Wipe this place from space." Jax looked at him. "That'll kill us too." Reyes nodded. "We delay the hive now, or the galaxy dies later." Sela stepped forward. "There must be another way." Unit 0 raised a hand. "There is." Everyone turned to him. "I'll stay. I can hold them off. You get out." Jax growled. "No, we don't leave our own." Unit 0 smiled faintly. "I'm not one of yours. I was never meant to live." He stepped toward the control panel, but Reyes pulled him back. "You've done your part," Reyes said. "Now it's our turn." He turned to Jax. "Prep the explosives. We're doing this together." They set charges all over the core. As the hive broke through the final door, the Deathworld soldiers stood in a circle, shoulder to shoulder, surrounding the detonator. Behind them, Sela worked on hacking the old jump pad, an emergency teleport. "Used in ancient wars, it's unstable," she warned. "Good," Reyes said. "So are we." The hive charged, screams. Fire. Blades. The soldiers held. Reyes triggered the countdown, 60 seconds. Jax tossed a grenade into the wave of creatures. "Come on then," he roared. "Come get some," Sela yelled. "It's ready. Jump, now." One by one, the soldiers leapt onto the pad. It sparked wildly, screamed, glowed. As Reyes pushed the last man forward, a hive beast lunged, slicing his side. Blood hit the ice, but Reyes jumped. In orbit, the Terran cruiser waiting above saw the signal. Then, boom, Erebus 9 exploded. A sunburst of fire swallowed the vault, the hive, and every secret inside. The ice world was gone. The survivors awoke aboard the cruiser. Sela gasped. "Did it work?" Unit 0 nodded. "You delayed them. That's enough." For now. But far away, in the Vrakar home system, a new hive spire rose from the ashes of a lost moon. Inside, a giant insect queen opened her eyes and smiled. "They remember us," she whispered. "Now we show them why they feared us." The galaxy didn't feel safe anymore. Not after Erebus 9 exploded, not after the hive stirred again. Reyes sat in the Terran cruiser's war room, a thick bandage over his side. Sela stood nearby, arms crossed, watching the stars outside. No one spoke. They had stopped a nightmare, but they knew it wasn't over. "Command just confirmed it," Jax said, entering the room. "Hive energy signatures have been detected. Multiple systems. This wasn't a random outbreak. This was a test." Reyes didn't look up. "A test of how far they've come." "No," Sela said slowly. "A test to see how ready we are." Far across the galaxy on a dark, dead moon, something ancient rose from its cocoon, a tower of bone and metal, twisting up like a needle into the black sky. At its peak stood the Hive Queen. Her body was tall, elegant, and horrifying. She had no eyes. She didn't need them. Her voice echoed through strange frequencies, telepathic waves that rippled across light years, to the Vrakar, to the Zhan Empire, even to Earth. Everyone heard the same message. You fed the flames of war. You sent soldiers and steel. But we are not flesh. We are not metal. We are the memory of fear. And we have returned. Panic spread. The Vrakar fled their border worlds. The Zhan Empire ordered full evacuations of 3 sectors. Even Earth Command issued a level Omega alert, the first in 2 centuries. In the Terran cruiser, the lights dimmed as command appeared on screen. Admiral Corrin's face was stern. "You encountered Unit 0?" he asked. Reyes nodded. "He's alive," Sayla added. "And still a weapon." Corrin frowned. "Then it's worse than we feared." They showed a new map, systems blinking red one by one. Multiple hive spires are activating. They're not attacking yet, they're building. "Building what?" Jax asked. "Something that can speak across time and mind," Corrin said. "Something that can break more than ships. Something that can break hope." Sela leaned forward. "So what do we do?" Corrin answered coldly. "You go dark. You vanish from the stars, and you find their mind core before it finds us." The mission was clear. Go to Theta Varnus, a forgotten system filled with black holes and gravity tears, a place where Terran probes had vanished centuries ago, a place no sane fleet dared to enter. The last transmission from that region was a scream. The Deathworld team geared up again. Unit 0 stood at the shuttle's door. "I shouldn't be here," he said. "The hive will sense me." "They'll sense all of us," Reyes replied. "But they'll fear you." As they entered Theta Varnus, everything changed. The stars looked wrong, twisted, like they had been rewritten by something alive. The ship's sensors began to fail. Maps didn't match. Time felt slower. Jax gripped his seat. "It's like flying through a nightmare." "No," Sela whispered. "We're flying through memory." Suddenly, impact. A beam of black light struck the cruiser, tearing the engine. They crash-landed on a small rock world at the system's edge. No life signs, no readings, but underground. Something was breathing. Inside the caves, they found strange walls. Not rock, not metal. Hive skin. As they walked deeper, the tunnels whispered. Voices, memories, regrets. One soldier dropped to his knees. "I hear my mother's voice. She died 10 years ago." Sela scanned him. His brain's being touched, lightly, like something is peeling back his mind. They reached a chamber. At the center was a core, a floating orb, black and pulsing like a heart. It was surrounded by hive tendrils. On Unit 0 froze. "It's one of their brain nodes. Living memory vaults. If we touch it, it might show us what the hive knows." Reyes didn't hesitate. He placed his hand on it. The world vanished. He saw a burning human city, Terran soldiers screaming, hive beasts consuming them. But one voice remained calm. The Hive Queen. She stood in the flames and whispered, "You built machines to forget. We build worlds to remember." Reyes pulled his hand back, gasping. "They're planning something big, something they've never done before." Sayla asked, "What did you see?" Reyes looked at her with hollow eyes. "A weapon, made from us." Suddenly, the hive woke. The tunnels screamed. Creatures burst from the walls. Too many. Too fast. They ran, Unit 0 covering the rear, slicing through beasts with glowing blades. But the cave began to collapse. Jax threw Sela toward the exit. "Go!" Reyes grabbed the memory core, pulling it free. The explosion sent them flying. Hours later, back on the wrecked cruiser, Sela opened the core with portable tech. Inside was a horrifying plan. The hive had harvested DNA from thousands of species. They weren't just using them. They were building one of their own. A hybrid queen. Part insect, part human. She'll be able to talk like us. Think like us. Predict us, Sela said, her voice shaking. Reyes added, "And we'll never see her coming." Back in deep space, a new hive ship was being formed. huge, organic, alive. Inside, the hybrid queen opened her eyes for the first time. She was beautiful, terrifying, and she spoke one word: Earth. The sky above Earth was clear, peaceful, but the people below didn't know the truth. They didn't know that far beyond their sun, in the dark edge of the galaxy, something ancient was flying straight toward them. The hybrid Hive Queen. From the broken cruiser in Theta Varnus, Reyes watched the Hive signal grow. It wasn't hiding anymore. It was coming. Fast. He clenched his fist. They're not going for colonies, not outposts, not even fleets. Sela nodded. They want Earth. Admiral Corrin appeared on the holoscreen, face pale. Every planet we've lost in the last cycle was part of a path. He zoomed out. The galactic map. A red line stretched across the stars. A straight line. It ended on Earth. They're not spreading, Corrin said. They're aiming. The Deathworld team didn't wait. They launched from the wreck using a stealth pod to reach the nearest warp beacon. But time was short. The Hive Queen's bioship was faster than anything seen before. It ate stars for fuel, bent space like it was water. On Earth, the cities prepared. Children were sent into shelters. Orbital guns were loaded. Thousands of Terran ships formed a blockade across the Sol system. It was the largest defense fleet in history. But deep inside Earth's moon, a secret vault opened. Unit. Zero stood before a black door. It hissed as it unlocked. Inside were the Death-class Titans, ancient walkers from the First Hive War. Each one was a city-sized machine of death. Reyes stood on one of the platforms, staring at the Titans glowing. Red Core. This is it, he said. One last war. Then, the stars blinked, one by one. The Hive had arrived. The Queen's ship emerged near Neptune. It was not a vessel. It was a living fortress. Hundreds of Hive creatures poured from it, flapping, crawling with hate. And at the center, standing, tall on a throne of bone, she watched. Her eyes weren't red, they were human blue. Let the final hunt begin, she whispered. And the Hive attacked. Terran fleets opened fire. Beams of light crossed space. Hive flesh burned, but for every creature that fell, 10 more came. The Queen didn't flinch. She raised one hand, and Earth's satellites fell from orbit like stones. In the Titan Command Center, Unit 0 stepped forward. Let me go first. Reyes grabbed his arm. You'll die. I was built to die, Zero said, but not before I take her with me. He launched in the first Titan. The machine roared as it touched Earth's sky. Wings of steel spread wide. Its cannons glowed white-hot, and it soared into the stars. The Hive Queen saw it coming. She smiled. Ah, the weapon that failed to break. She sent her best monsters, giant beasts, living missiles, mind burners that screamed through thought. But Zero didn't stop. In orbit, 2 Titans followed him. Sela piloted the second, Reyes the third. Together, they pushed through the Hive swarm like burning arrows. The Queen's ship opened its core. A massive energy buildup began. She's charging something, Sela warned. Big, Jax added. Big enough to crack the planet. Reyes narrowed his eyes. Then we end it now. The Titans combined firepower, blasting a hole into the Hive ship. Unit 0 went in first. He jumped out of the Titan, walking alone through the bioship's twisting halls. It was alive. It pulsed with every step, and ahead, she waited. The Queen. Half human, half Hive. All hate. You were born to destroy us, she said softly. But you are one of us. Zero didn't speak. He pulled out a core bomb from his chest. She laughed. You'll die too. I know, he said. And then he ran at her. Explosion. Light swallowed the ship. The Hive screamed. The Queen's mind shattered. Outside, the Hive swarm lost control. They turned on each other. Without the Queen, they were animals again. The sky lit up with Hive bodies falling like ash. On Earth, people stepped outside their bunkers and looked up. They saw the fire in the sky, and they knew they had survived. Later, in the wreckage of the Hive ship, Reyes and Selah found Unit Zero's helmet, nothing else. He was gone, but so was she. The war was over. For now. Back at Earth Command, Admiral Corrin stood before a new star map. He marked the Hive systems in red. Then he tapped a new icon. Project Phoenix, he said. We're going to where they came from. Reyes asked. Why? Isn't it done? Corrin replied. They begged us for aid, then they turned us into prey. Now, we become the hunters.